What's going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new episode of One Deck, One Month. That's right, the triumphant return, and we are playing a deck that we have already covered on the series before, and it was actually the first ever deck we played on this series back in, I want to say, September of 2020, right around that time. So it's almost been like exactly 3 years since we've done this deck, and a lot of you probably already know what it is by the title and thumbnail, and it is Infernoble Knight. Now, the last time we played this deck, it was doing a lot of different things than it is doing now. Of course, with the release of Duelist Nexus, the deck did get a ton of support, and obviously several ban lists have come and gone, so the deck, needs to say, looks and plays a lot differently. But I do gotta say, you know, going back and watching some of those episodes, I was a little nostalgic for cards like Link Cross, Halqifibrax, Auroradon, Smoke Grenade, and yeah, a lot of really cool lines. Playing Shooting Riser Dragon, Draco Sack, that level 4 Warrior Synchro that I can't think of its name off the top of my head, Power Tool Dragons, multiple Power Tool Dragons. Yeah, it was a very, very fun deck, and it's cool to see how much it has changed, but also at the same time, it hasn't changed. And we'll take a look at the deck list in a moment, but there are a lot of cards that you guys will see in here that are very, very familiar cards when you take a look at how the deck used to play. A lot of changes coming in the extra deck, though, with some new cards, not only just specific to Infernoble cards, but Battling Boxer stuff, which we'll talk about those cards as well later on in the series, I'm sure. But I just want to do this quick intro because I'm about to actually start streaming, and I do have a regional. We have a regional this Saturday, week 1 regional. Wait, we gotta pause the episode. We gotta talk about the fundraiser first. Yeah, hold on. We gotta talk about the fundraiser first. So if you guys remember last time we did One Deck a Month for Photon Galaxy, we were trying to raise money for the Clean Air Task Force, and we raised nearly $400 in an effort to fight climate change. And a big thank you to everybody who decided to donate to that. And I believe I said I wanted to keep this kind of thing a running tradition for the series, where we not only, you know, get together for a month and learn a deck and play it to the best of my ability, document the journey, but we, you know, try to help out a good cause along the way. And this installment is no different, as we're going to be raising money for the Wild Bird Fund. If you guys don't know who they are, they're an amazing nonprofit organization that helps to rehabilitate injured wildlife based in New York City. And they treat nearly 10,000 patients every year and end up releasing at least 50% back into the wild, those that are lucky enough to make it. And the care they provide is truly invaluable, as that area of New York City is a main stopover point for a lot of migrating species. I believe it's like nearly 355 or so species every year, and they get a lot of patients, very, very busy, a lot of volunteer work, and just some amazing people over there providing some amazing care for some amazing animals that are in true need of help, where they wouldn't be able to get it otherwise. So if you want to learn more about them and the amazing work that they do, a link to their website can be found in the description of this video, and their mission statement on the sidebar here. If you guys want to donate, please click that blue donate button. All the money will go directly to them. YouTube is even covering the transaction fees, so please feel free to donate. I'm also going to put the donation incentives up on the screen here for you guys to see as well. Be kind of similar to last time around. Yeah, so definitely check those out if we hit each of these goals. I know we have to $500. If we can hit our limit, we'll hit this amazing sort of incentive down here at the bottom. Hopefully we can do it, guys, so please donate. We'll have all month to raise this money, and this fundraiser will be attached to every video I upload from the start of this first episode getting uploaded all the way to when the last episode gets uploaded. So please consider donating. If you can't donate, please consider sharing the video around so it might find some people that can. So again, I really thank you guys for donating. I really, really appreciate your support. I'm very passionate about this cause, and I'm sure all of those injured animals will really appreciate the help that you're going to directly be providing to them through your donation. So let's hop right back into the video. I was gonna save it for like the last week and start earlier, but I just haven't been able to do that, and this is what the time I'm choosing to start. And you know what? Why not start with a regional, right? We'll see how it goes this coming Saturday. We probably won't be going to locals. We'll just be playing the regional, and I'll try to be taking notes and give you guys a detailed recap of how everything goes. It should be 8 rounds, I believe, in Rochester, New York. Going to be a pretty fun time. Looking forward to it at Millennium Games. They got a brand new facility. Haven't been there yet, so I'm excited to see how that all looks and feels. But yeah, I'm gonna get on stream right now and try to grind out, 5-6 matches or so and try to learn something. Because there's still a lot to learn, and we've only got like 4 or 5 days until it's go time, right? Until we got to play this regional. My hopes aren't super high. My expectations right now aren't super high. I'm just kind of going with it, right? Rolling with the punches, see what happens. And again, just trying to learn things right now because there's still, like I said, a lot left to learn. So over the course of the next few days, I did stream on Twitch playing on the YGO Omega ladder just to get some repetitions down with the deck, try to learn some combo lines, and try to find out what I was liking and what I was not liking in the extra main and side deck. And the build did change, I think, a couple times over the course of those 2 days. I believe the build looked like this at the end of day 1 and looked like this at the end of day 2, but I did make some slight changes after the fact the night before the regional, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And I think our record on our first day of streaming was 3-4, so a little rough, needless to say. I definitely felt very out of practice with the deck and just, not really knowing what I was doing. However, the next day, things were looking a little bit up. Our record at the end of the stream, after 6 hours of streaming, was 10-1, only losing 1 match to Dark World, which if I'm being totally honest, I threw the second game, and that definitely cost me the match because I ended up actually opening unplayable in Game 3, a Game 3 that really didn't even need to happen. But I'm very proud of the progress that happened from our stream on Wednesday to our stream on Thursday. It's amazing what just running through some repetitions, going through a bunch of games, and just, practice what it can do for your ability to play a deck. And hopefully this will carry over to our performance at the regional. Fast forward a few days to Saturday, and it was finally the day I'd been waiting for. It was the day of the regional, hosted in Rochester, New York at Millennium Games, their brand new store, which I gotta say is super impressive. Really, really nice space. We had over 200 players and 8 rounds ahead of us. They even had a live stream going on, and Logan from Crush Cards was doing the commentary all day, so it was really cool to see them do something like that. Regional live streams aren't something you get to see too often, so that was definitely really, really cool. You could even see me on the live stream playing in my round 7 match there. So yeah, overall great experience, great people. It was fun to hang out with the boys from Buffalo. Shout out to everybody who went and everybody that did well. Now let's talk about what happened at the regional. Welcome to Tuesday, everybody. In a few minutes here, we are going to be recapping our regional experience that took place this past Saturday, and we'll talk about the whole experience. I did remember to take notes. I wish I would have filmed some stuff with my phone there, just get some B-roll, but I just really was kind of focused on, what I was there to do, and that was to play my deck and play it as the best I possibly could. And, socialize with friends and stuff like that. So that stuff kind of took a back seat, although next time I would like to just have some of that for the video, make it a little bit better than, what it could be. But before we do that, I do have a little bit of like a special thing that we're going to do right now. I got this package in the mail the other day from Imperium Duelist, and I want to go ahead and crack it on video. I've been waiting to open this for like a whole day now. And I just want to see what's inside, so we're just gonna do this together. I opened the bag up, and first thing I see is this, and I'm like, is that like a wig of some sort? But it can't be a wig. I think I know what it is, though. It kind of looks like it would be a wig, but it does have green feet, and it is a Karibo plushie, I think. There it is. Oh my goodness. That is one hairy looking dude right there. Very, very cool. I'll have to put this somewhere up on my shelf with the other plushies that I have. And looking a little bit deeper in here, I see another hat, which I love hats. You guys have seen me wear hats a lot in my videos. And it looks like this one has a, I believe, One Punch Man reference on the front. I've never seen the show, and I know a lot of people will probably hate me for that, but yeah, I like hats like this. Very, very comfortable. This one probably needs to be loosened up, though, a little bit to fit my big head. And inside the bag, we have a smaller bag. So let's see what's in the box. But I think there might be some stuff on the outside. Yep. On the outside, oh yes, we have a pack of their outer sleeves. So inside the box, let's see what we have. Looks like we have a playmat and a whole plethora of other goodies. And it looks like what we have here is a single player Master Duel themed playmat. It comes with this nice little bag, little scapegoat bag. So let's see what else we got in here. We got some more border sleeves. Some of these, I think like Millennium border sleeves. My camera would focus here. Yeah, so Millennium design there, like the Millennium items. What else we got here? We've got like a similar design, but these are like blue. Some of their Pegasus sleeves. I'm meaning to get my hands on some of these and order some more. But I always appreciate them sending them out. Some of their chubby sleeves. Okay, so the chubby sleeves, I don't know if you guys know this, but these are like top loaders that you can put in cards that fit in binders. So like, if you have really nice high rarity cards that you don't want to just leave in sleeves or double sleeve, these are like a great alternative. I've used them in my Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection binder, which I don't show too often, but I do actually use these quite a bit, and I do like them. Some more sleeves. I think these are the One Piece. The One Piece is real, which this is my second pack of these. I've yet to open them. Maybe I'll give them away to some people that are more fans of the show. I think this is more Demon Slayer themed stuff. I don't watch a lot of anime, so you guys probably have already picked that up. And then what do we have here? A fluff token? You guys seeing this right now? You guys seeing this? Is this a token? Huh? Are they coming out with their own tokens? Because if so, what? Emissary of Darkness token? Bro, look at this. And they're like holographic. So you turn them, they change pictures. Are they doing their own tokens? Double fluff token. It's for Dandelion, right? Is this for like Edison format, right? All right, what else do we have here? We have Pokemon themed dice right there. You can see like the Master Ball, Ultra Ball, Premier Ball. I think I don't know what the other name. I'm failing so hard. I feel like I should know all this stuff. And then we have the Yu-Gi-Oh themed ones in here, which we have the 4D or 3D 3D goat dice here. It comes in this nice little metal container, keeps them nice and protected. Really nice little designs in there. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but they do look really, really well made in there. And then what do we have here? Hammer Strike dice. Take a look at that. Look at that packaging. I always give them props on their packaging. It's always very nice. Some stuff on the back there. Okay, so we have ourselves a small little metal box, and I'm assuming it's like magnetic. Yes, I've seen some other brands of these. But these are very nice little machined black metal dice. Very plain, very simple. Sit right in there, little magnetic top. Seals back together, a little logo on it. I like it. Got a ton of dice, got a ton of new sleeves. Got a freaking Karibo plushie, which is really, really cool. So this will definitely have to go somewhere on display. Some sleeves, brand new mat. Very, very nice. Big thank you, of course, goes without saying to Imperium Duelist for sending me all this stuff. It's always a pleasure working with them and getting to use their amazing stuff, and I'm forever grateful for their support and grateful for your guys' support as well, allowing things like this to happen. So if you want to support the channel and get some of the amazing stuff that I've shown off so far here, sleeves, whatever, dice, right, check them out. Link below in the description, as well as the discount code WinnerKillsOff that you can use at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. So yeah, let's continue on with the video. Okay. So fun part's over. We had our little mail day. Let's get to the serious part of the video. How did things go at the regional? We're going to be going over the full tournament report recap, round by round analysis, things like that. And we're also going to be going over the deck list. I wanted to go over the deck list first because I don't think I've talked about it yet in the video. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Dalen Pitkin, aka Mr. Top 16, and also, of course, to all the other Buffalo boys who did so well at the regional, but specifically Dalen for helping me with this list, as he also plays this deck. At least I think he's going to play this deck. Hopefully my terrible play doesn't persuade him to do otherwise, but let's throw the deck list up on the screen here. Let me just slide over so I can edit it in magically for you guys to look at. So for non-engine, that was one of the things, and also shout out to C Goody, shout out to Colin for helping me to get this deck able to be a little bit more streamlined, fitting in the proper non-engine and tweaking the side deck. He may have been a little tipsy when we were deciding all that stuff, but his knowledge in Yu-Gi-Oh tends to be unfazed no matter what his current state is. He can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh whenever he needs to. And we were able to fit 13 going second cards into the deck. I did make one last minute change though apart from that. So we ended up going from 13 going second cards to 12. I wasn't super happy about it, but I really wanted the third copy of Durendal in the deck, so I decided to drop Called by the Grave from the deck entirely. Do I regret that? Maybe not 100%. I don't really think so, and I'll talk about that in a little bit once we get through the rest of the deck, like why I necessarily didn't. I also made one other change too, but you know, we were able to fit 12 going second cards in, 3 Droll, 3 Book of Moon, 3 Book of Eclipse, and 3 Imperium. The hand trap lineup is the way it is because it helps to really, you know, give the deck a better edge in some of its harder matchups, like the Pearly matchup, because our deck is literally just not outing Noir. We're not playing through Noir, especially with my ability to pilot the deck. I'm not sequencing any plays, you know, that would get us through a 7 material Noir in that many sends. Like, it's just not happening, especially if we're playing against somebody with a brain and they know where to interrupt the deck. It's probably just not going to happen. And of course, this deck cannot play under a Rise Heart whatsoever, so we need at least 9 cards in the deck that have an answer to it. Obviously the 6 books and the 3 Imperiums, and we have more cards in the side deck that help in that particular matchup as well. Everything else you might see in this deck list, though, if you're an avid Infernoble player, probably looks pretty standard. We're on the connector package because I am in agreement with people like Team Cog and my friend Dalen and my friend Colin. Like, it's just so much better than the Battle and Boxer stuff. The Battle and Boxer stuff, though, does have its perks. You know, there are Fire Warrior monsters. It's a rank 4 engine to make things like Baguzga, get into Dempsey, etc., etc. Spars are pretty cool. Extender that it can be used multiple times in a turn, but nothing beats the hand knowledge that Connector and Dolphin provide you, and I feel like we have to play it until they hit it, which honestly I don't really see them doing unless they really want to push the Battle and Boxer stuff. Maybe they'll ban Dolphin, but like, I don't really see that happening. But hand knowledge is king, so it stays in. And then we have the 2 Ogier, 2 Renault, 2 Fire Flint Lady, and then we have some 1-ofs like Red Layer, Gearfried, Turpin, Ricardetto, and Oliver, just for the monster lineup there. I did make one last minute change literally the night before. I always have a tendency to do this, and it actually was a change that for once I didn't regret. I was actually pretty happy I decided to make this change, and that was dropping Hair to the Challenge from 3 down to 2 copies and replacing that 3rd copy with the Fire Flint Lady. And the reason why I did this is because I was watching Jared Centimore's video, which you guys haven't seen his channel, definitely check it out. I actually remember watching some of his Infernoble stuff way back when we first did our first run of One Deck One Month ever with this deck, and he was one of the people I got inspiration from for some of those combo lines that we had to relearn after the ban list came out, where I think like Jet Synchron and stuff got banned. I can't remember the exact specifics, but he was definitely a very influential figure with how I built the deck back then, and same holds true now. I watched one of his profiles, and he was on multiple Flint Lady, 1 Renault, multiple Oliver, and I really took the multiple Flint Lady as like a bit of inspiration, because like Connector is like one of the best ways to start your plays. Like if you open Ogier or Connector, like 9 times out of 10, you know, you're probably starting with Connector, like especially if you're going first. And you know, if Connector is getting hand trapped like it should be, like if your opponent has Ash, they're gonna Ash the Connector, and they're not gonna let you rip the Ash out of their hand with the Dolphin. Like, why would you do that, right? Give them a free eye sold. So the thing I like the best about Flint Lady is it's just the best extender in the deck, like generic extender, because Oliver requires a discard, Renaud requires a Fire Warrior on field, which Connector and a Sold and all these other things are not. So Flint Lady just has a warrior. It can also get another monster out of your hand, make it unable to be targeted. Kind of cool, so I wanted to bump up an extra Flint Lady copy just because I knew, like, you know, going into this event, like, if my Connector is constantly getting interrupted, which people are probably going to do, and that did happen, Connector did get interrupted quite a few times, I want to be able to have a higher count of Flint Lady in my deck so I can pair those 2 cards together. They Ash my Connector, alright, Specialman Flint Lady, go into a Sold, keep going. You know what I mean? That's kind of the synergy behind that. And 1 less Rhoda in the deck meant 1 less chance for my opponent to draw me, while still keeping the consistency of the deck at a decent, you know, percentage. And then the rest of the cards in there, we have obviously the 3 Museum, 2 Heritage, 3 Durendal, 1 Almace, 1 Joyous, 1 DDR, 1 Phoenix Blade, and 1 Rhoda. And I think that is pretty much everything else, and we already covered the 3 Imperm. The equip lineup, I think, is very standard. The only thing I said is I dropped the Called By for that 3rd Durendal because I felt a lot in testing, and this could be my poor play. And the lack of another card that is not in here that I kind of wish was, which we'll talk about when we get to the end of the tournament report. But I felt like I was running out of equips too much, like not playing that 3rd Durendal, like made it so like I was resolving museums less because I would, like if I drew Durendal, which, you know, drawing Durendal is never bad usually, unless you're either, you know, you didn't open any monsters and you're going first, right? Or you're like playing in the mirror and you show me a way to play and they have a Charles and yeah, whatever. But you know what I mean, right? Like I wanted to have a higher equip count. Like I wanted to be able to resolve museum, and I felt in testing that was becoming an issue, not having that extra copy of Durendal in there. And like I said, just opening it's great too. So I wanted to put that back in, and I wanted to drop Called By out of the deck. Just because I felt most of the time I could probably play through like an Ash or a Droll, and that's usually all people were playing, and I didn't want to like have a one of in my deck that would allow me to only beat certain cards like Shifter going first, never going second. You know, like beat those cards only a small percentage of the time, when I could rather have a card in my deck that will help just boost the consistency of my deck and give me better grind game. Hindsight, should I probably have played Call By or sided it? Probably. I think there might be some room for it in the side deck. It's just the main deck is so tight, and I really want to keep it at 40. And we'll talk more about like what the deck list is going to look like going forward towards the end of this episode. Yeah, like, could it have been in there? Yeah. Was it? No. Did I really miss it? No, I honestly didn't really miss it. I'm sure there was a time or two where I wish, you know, I could have drawn it to stop a Shifter, but it is what it is, right? So, and then the side deck, we have 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, and 1 Uppercutter, because I was siding in the counter, Flamval counter package, which I have my own thoughts about, which we'll get to. But the Ash and Nib was mainly to be like going against Cash. I could side out the Drolls for Ash Blossoms, and I think Ash is probably just better, especially if they start Shifter, your Droll is just dead. And then I could side out a Museum, a Flint Lady, and a Durendal or an Ogier going second for 3 Nibiru. So I would have 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, 6 Books, and 3 Imperms going second against Cash. I never ended up playing against Cash, but in theory, everything was there. Also, Ash Nibiru was just good against like generic combo, like the Mirror Match, Sword Soul, etc., etc. Other decks, like that's also kind of decent against like Rescue Ace, having the Ash and Nibiru, depending on what variant that they're playing. If they're playing the Cybers variant, just a generically good cards I wanted to have in the side. Also, Ash for Branded, Ash for Labyrinth, you know, Flamval counter, and Uppercutter, obviously for going first to beat Dark Ruler evenly, Droplets, etc. Duster is just Duster. Then we have 3 D-Barrier, because I was torn between that and Cross Out, and I was like, you know, Cross Out does help me to guarantee kind of go first uninterrupted, but then you have to worry about playing like a one of like Shifter in the side, and that adds its own inconsistencies. And then, you know, depending on the matchup, like the Cross Out isn't really useful for much else. I guess you could argue you could hit other hand traps and non-engine, but I don't know. D-Barrier just felt a lot safer because D-Barrier is a turn skip, right? Why the hell would I not want to go for it? And then 3 evenly matched, just because good against Rescue Ace, Labyrinth, Branded, Keshtira, a whole load of other decks. You could argue it's decent against Pearly, you know, to wipe off everything else, get rid of the Field Spell, get rid of the My Friend, and then just have to deal with 1 body at most usually after that. But yeah, that was the side deck. Extra deck I'm not going to go over too in detail. The Appaloosa is added in there just because like the combo with Connector Renaud's insane. 2 Charles, 2 Angelica. Always wanted 2 of each. There was one change I wanted to make, which was cutting Raten. I thought Raten was like one of the most useless cards. Like I think the Ferocious Flame Storm is just a better card to go into because it's a fire warrior. The recursion effect is nice, and I felt like I would value that over the battle phase pop. And yeah, everything else is pretty standard. I liked Dempsey. I did not really miss Artorigus except for at least 1 or 2 points in the actual tournament. Okay, so that's the profile. Hopefully that didn't take forever. This is probably going to be a long episode, just a lot of talking. I apologize for that. But round 1, I played against Pearly. I actually played against somebody from my locals, somebody from Buffalo. It was a bit of a team kill. It was unfortunate. They were on Pearly. I lost Diral, ended up winning 2-1. Game 1, I had double book for the setup. They did have Trap. He had the Yeep, but, you know, obviously double Book of Moon goes crazy, and we just summoned Connector. I think they had something for it, but we had a way to play through it, and I think it actually was a Fire Flint Lady, so that extra Flint Lady being in the deck was great. Then round 2, I played against Fluon de Rees. Yeah, we lost that one 1-2. Game 1, he had Shifter. Game 3, he had Shifter. Game 3, I also opened Triple Ash Durendal Renaud, I think was my opening hand. And the one game that I ashed him when I had the Triple Ash, he also thrust for Harpy's Featherstorm, so really not a whole lot we could do there. Just a very unfortunate hand. Round 3, I played against Math Mech. This is one of the more sensitive topics to talk about for this particular regional, is this particular match. Yeah. Lost 2-0, lost die roll. In game 1, I opened 3 Durendal. So this is just off the back of opening 3 Ash against the Flu in game 3. And then literally the next game that I would play, I opened another 3 copies of the same card, 3 Durendal. And he had Droll Valor 2 turns in a row. I think I had Droll for him as well, game 1. So like we kind of got in this like really back and forth game. He had a Heat Soul that I think I top decked an Imperm. I Impermed it in the draw phase to keep him off cards. Hopefully I could get something going, but again, he had Droll Valor, because I think he drolled me on resolution of something, like it might have been Durendal, and then I think I went to Isolde, and he Valored the Isolde, right? So I had to pretty much stop there. And yeah, that was it. And that just kind of went on back and forth until he eventually was able to just go for game and just whittle down my resources, since he finally got back to engine. He kept drawing like 2 cards every turn, and he just kept attacking with Heat Soul. I'm like, there's no way his hand is that bad. Must be filled with just a ton of hand traps, which like I'm not playing, and yeah, it doesn't matter. And then game 2, this is where things get a little spicy. I literally threw the game. There's really no other way of putting it. I think I had like Museum, Rhoda, Durendal, Renaud, and something else in hand, and this is a key thing to remember. I want to make some like shorts and stuff like this, like you know, small things to remember when you're playing certain decks. This is definitely one of them. If you're playing this deck, if you're playing Infernoble, this format, which is a very Droll heavy format, like you're gonna find it in the main. If it's not in the main, it's in the side, and if it's not in their side, they're not a real player, right? So like you're gonna get Drolled, so you have to prepare every hand like you're gonna get Drolled, because that's just the safest thing to do. Because then you end up making a mistake like I did, where you have Heritage and you have Museum in hand, and you don't have any good normal summon body that accomplishes anything, right? All I had in my hand was Renaud. It's the only monster that I had. So the logical thing to do would have been started with normal, or activate Reinforce the Army, go grab Ogier, because that just plays, I think, way better with the Renaud that I already had in hand. I could have dumped Gearfried, added it back, all under Droll. And even if he has something like Valor, which I knew he was playing from the previous game, it plays way less into Valor than something like Connector would, because if he Valors the Connector and I just have Renaud in hand, you know, I don't really do anything. But if I had the Durendal, like if I actually had Durendal, like I think I did, if I remember correctly, then it didn't matter so much, but would have been much safer. So I started with Museum, though, because I also was remembering, like, you know, if you can start with Museum, you should. That way you later have access to the equipped special summon effect, the second effect of Museum. But I did that not thinking about that I also didn't have any good productive normal summons, so I should have started with Rhoda, and lo and behold, my misplay, my miscalculation was completely punished by a Droll Lockbird, in which I had to pass. My opponent was Synapse Mining. I drolled him on resolution. He said, I don't care, I didn't ask. Math Mech and OTK off 1 circular, and I pretty much just died right then and there. And I was very upset. So don't make the same mistake I did. Yeah, it's such an elementary thing, because that, I feel like, had I sequenced that differently, we would have gone to a game 3. I could just feel it in my bones. We could have gone to a game 3. Who knows? Maybe we went out. Round 4, we play against Pearly, 1-2-1. I won die roll this time. Game 2, I lost to Noir plus summon limit, and he drew 1 off Sleepy and ended up being a Droll and Lockbird. There was no winning that. And I believe he hard made the Noir on his turn. So far, well, we haven't lost anything to Pearly, though, and I guess the deck was built to have that as a good matchup, and it's great to see that the 2 Pearly matches we played, we won, despite losing die roll against one of those matchups. Round 5, I played against Striker. There's really nothing to say about this. I won 2-0. Game 1, I summoned a Soul. He ashed it frame 1 because I lost die roll. He made me go first. So I was like, what is he playing? And for some reason, Striker didn't click in my head. I thought maybe it was Pearly, because that deck can also kind of want to go second. But I summoned a Sold, and literally, on summon effect, he ashes it. And I'm like, second effect, and then we just do full combo. And then same thing happened the next game, because he made me go first again. And yeah, I think he ashed somewhere else, and yeah, it was just an easy 2-0. Stop playing Striker, please. Round 6, we played against Spriggan Adventure. I won die roll. We also won 2-0. I had to play against another person from my locals. Unfortunately, another team kill. But, I mean, it wasn't really the greatest match, if I'm being totally honest. He didn't open up any non-engine going second. And I won die roll, so I did full combo. I think he ended on, like, double Charles Link, Baron, and, like, Droll. So, yeah, he wasn't winning that one. And then game 2, he just bricked with a set D barrier and no hand traps in hand. And I was still able to OTK through the D barrier because I made Dempsey with, I think, Reten and Gearfried. And I had the field spell up. I think it was something like that. And I think I had like 8,100 damage on board or something similar to that. And then round 7. So right now we are 4-2. We are 4-2 going into round 7. Cannot afford another loss. And we play against one of the boys from Rochester, Chris, on the Sword Soul deck. Yeah, so we lost 2-0. We also lost die roll. And this match, I feel like, has a lot to say about me as a player and where I stand with the deck currently. Game 1, he ended on Chi Zhao Baron. My only hand trap going to the board was an Imperm that I had in the opening 5. Now, when your opponent starts Mo Yi, reveal Ashna, I feel like you can't go wrong with just Imperming the Mo Yi, but Heavenly Dragon Circle is also a card which he did indeed have. Now, I don't know if I'm correct in saying this or not, or just hindsight 2020 kind of situation where, you know, if all I have is just one Imperm, maybe it's worth holding the Imperm just for Chi Zhao. I feel like it makes much better sense because if you look at both scenarios where you just have Imperm and they have Heavenly Dragon Circle, what would you rather have happen? They normal summon the Mo Yi, you chain the Imperm, they chain Circle, they still get to Chi Zhao, which gives them a search plus an interruption for next turn, right? Or you hold the Imperm for Chi Zhao, and if they have the Heavenly Dragon Circle, they have to choose between, you know, letting the search go through and getting rid of the body, or not taking the search and just keeping the interruption for next turn. And that way you put them on already having something like Long Yun in hand to keep playing, which I believe he did end up searching Long Yun off the Chi Zhao. So I feel like I definitely misplayed there in that sense, because if he wanted the search, that means he's trading off Chi Zhao to go ahead and get that search to go through. Which means maybe he's ending on just a Baron and maybe a Blackout or something if he already hard drew one of the other. And I just literally could not play through Chi Zhao Baron. And it's not like I like made a Soul, he negated that, then I made like Angelica, then he negated that. Like, I feel like I just sequenced things very poorly with this deck right now, and I feel like this game definitely showed it. I think my hand was something like Red Layer Connector, Heritage, Field Spell, Durendal, and I think the other card was Imperm. So that was my hand. I just don't know if there's a way that I could have beaten Chi Zhao Baron, or maybe just Baron had I Imperm the Chi Zhao, etc., etc. I feel like, again, that was just a game that I probably should have won. Yeah, because like Chi Zhao Baron, like, if a deck can't play through Chi Zhao Baron, then like what? I feel like Photon Galaxy could play through Chi Zhao Baron. But I digress. Game 2, I went first. I had Dolphin, which revealed Mo Yi, Duster, Droplets, Talents, and Emergence. So those are the opening 5. So you had Duster, Droplets, and Talents. So I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a lot of cards. There's a lot of board breakers. And I think this is also another example of me missequencing things and negating the improper things. I also was able to end on Nibiru in hand, Charles, Power Load Ogre, and I think that was it. I had a habit of making Goki Power Load Ogre like just as a part of my end board, which I think was a big mistake because it like left my extra deck void of anything good to go into the next turn. That was relatively easy to get into. and he was just able to still end on Berserker Shaman with a Nib token, and that was his turn. And for the life of me, I just could not, with the time that I had left on the clock, figure out how to get to a board state that would get through what he had. I mean, granted, also he had another droplets. I should point that out. I did have Baron, I did have the Charles Link, and I went to go pop the Draco Berserker, and he had droplets sending 2, and I believe it was a monster and a spell, and I just could not. I think that was the nail in the coffin. But I also had like little to no resources left in my deck at that point because I was not playing Magus, which you guys saw in the earlier deck list, and that's something I wanted to bring up. That is a card that I regret not playing in the deck. Not because I think the draw 1 is super great. Like, I know I'm only playing 3 hand traps main decked, right, that I can actually utilize if I draw in the end phase on like something like Imperium, right? It's just because recycling certain cards back in the deck makes Museum live, makes a Soul live on the next turn, like gives that second Soul real value, which gives you the opportunity to like link climb into some better things, and which is why I might try playing something like Unicorn later on, just because, you know, Unicorn getting access to some removal and like link climbing into like something like maybe like Access Code or Appaloosa just seems a lot more enticing than the way the extra deck is currently set up. And I also kind of wanted to play a second Roland because you don't always make 2 Angelicas. There is like one combo line I believe that does, but it makes it so like the second Angelica in your extra deck doesn't feel completely useless. Like it can tag out and do a Roland, especially if your first Roland gets like banished by something, whatever it may be. Like I just kind of wanted that in there for like better grind game. I want better stuff in my extra deck to be able to go into after my board gets broken, which if you're not opening up like insane, your board isn't that crazy, and you're probably going to have your board get broken, especially if they see some sort of board breaker, like a lot of decks are on currently, or you get hit with Droll, which is also a likely possibility. So, I don't know. I feel like that last round was a little bit of a an insight to my ability to play the deck, where sequencing, I think, was most important in that particular match than any other match that we played that day, where the other matches were just a matter of like, oh, I went first, I set up a board, you couldn't break it, and then games, like if I had to go second, like I just ended up losing, like because they opened insane and didn't have any hand traps or board breakers, or I just threw like the one match, like, yeah. So I mean that was the tournament report. Ended up finishing 4-3. I ended up dropping after that as well. Yeah, it was just like, didn't want to play the last round, was starving, wanted to go get something to eat, so that is what we ended up doing. And yeah, that is pretty much it for, I think, this first episode. I know a lot really didn't happen in this particular episode. We didn't do any match reviews or anything like that, but things are starting off a little different here. You know, we started things off with the regional, and unfortunately we couldn't get a top like I wanted to. Shout out, of course, to all the other boys that did. I think we had 7 people from Buffalo that ended up topping, and one of them actually ended up winning. Their profile was already on the channel. My boy Devin with the Cash Tira deck going undefeated. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all I want to say. We'll be back next week with some gameplay, some analysis, trying to actually get better at sequencing and playing with the new finely tweaked deck list, which we'll talk about in the next week as well. Also, we are doing a fundraiser for this series. As I'm filming this, I haven't sorted out the incentives yet, but they should be on the screen right now. And I believe the cause that we are also raising money for should also be on the screen right now. So please, please, please consider donating, much like we did last time. Any amount is appreciated. If you can't donate, feel free to share with a friend. And thank you very much if you do donate. And as always, Murray signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And like always, I want to give a big shout out to our current Divine level channel members who are Misfit, HCH Cyber, Cadillacs, Pony Stark, and Green. Thank you guys so much for your very kind and very generous support of the channel. I can't thank you guys enough.